Hey, welcome everyone. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. So unfortunately, we're doing a live stream because I didn't have the time to do a video, transcode it, upload it, and everything else. I got home a little late. It was around 7 o'clock when I got home. And then I had to crunch the numbers on 5 miners. So I figured we'll do a live stream. We'll cut some of the fat out of my time here. And we'll get into Q&As as always at the end of the video. So I think maybe you guys will like that as well. But we have, obviously, we need to talk about Paraguay, right? There possibly, there's a ban, potentially there's a bill or amendment that's going to be maybe going through. I don't think it will, but it's talking about a moratorium or a ban on mining for 180 days. We'll take a look at what that might actually entail. We'll also take a look at Argo. We got Argo Core, DMG, Hut, and Hive production updates. So we got a lot to go through here. And then we'll get into the live Q&A at the end of the session here, as always. Okay, so we got quite a few things to go through. Plus, Bitcoin hasn't done too well today. Miners, same thing. We'll get into all that, but as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice. For entertainment only, please do your own research and invest in flying coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And then obviously corrections will be posted to Discord through Patreon and then YouTube, community posts, and Twitter as well when they do happen, okay? But let's take a look at what's going on here with the miners here really quick and Bitcoin on the charts. And we can see here that Bitcoin's down a little bit today. It was down about 0.98%, not a big deal. It did, come back down to where it was yesterday at the low, and then it bounced off of that. So that's kind of maybe a good sign there. It is down for the week so far, and so are the miners here for the week. There's only 2 miners that are up, actually. It's BitDeer, and I believe IREN is the only ones that are up on the week so far. But they're up just barely, a couple percentage points on it. Everybody else is down for the week. And you can see, obviously, on the chart here, everybody here has been in the red except for we got Riot was up a little bit here today. We got BitDeer up a little bit, and Argo was up a little bit as well. Okay, so that's it for the miners there. We'll see how they actually stack up against Bitcoin this past week. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty close with a lot of these miners here that we track compared to Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's done this week. Okay, but that'll be coming out probably on Sunday video. We'll do another live stream on Sunday possibly. Or I think we will. We'll do that because we usually do it on a Saturday, but since I'm going to be busy tomorrow, I can't do it. We'll do it on a Sunday. But let's take a look at the stories that we do have here. So a lot of you guys were asking me questions on obviously Bitfarms, because Bitfarms has a facility in Paraguay, and what impact does this potential Paraguay, right, mining ban has impact on them. So let's get into the story here. We'll kind of go through it, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it as well. So Paraguay floats temporary crypto mining ban as illegal farms cripple grid. Right, this is the big takeaway from here: is illegal mining farms. Bitfarms is operating as a legal entity in Paraguay. So is Marathon. Marathon has a joint venture there. So those guys, I believe, will be okay because they do have the authority, obviously the permission to do that. But it's just these, Wild West guys that are trying to hook up to the power grid without permission and causing havoc in some of those areas. But here's what we have. So the ban would last about 180 days until the new laws are enacted and the national power grid operator can ensure it can supply sufficient energy. Going down here, you guys can read some of the stuff, but the main takeaways here under the article or the proposed amendment, Article 3, temporary prohibition in national territory, the creation of new crypto assets and or cryptocurrencies, the installation of new, crypto mining farms. So anything that's not already in place, not already allowed to operate, anything that's new, there would be a temporary ban on that. So it doesn't account for, obviously, what Bitfarms is doing or what Marathon is doing. They already have authority there and approval to operate in those facilities or in that jurisdiction. They also have approval, obviously, to grow to whatever they had agreed upon, I guess, right? So I think those two should be fine for the time being. There's nothing that's going to change that. It's just anything that's coming in new, right? So obviously the government wants to just kind of look over things, make sure that the power grid is stable enough to support any new Bitcoin mining going forward. But the ones that are already in there should be just fine. Going down here, since February, the region has seen 50 cases of interrupted power supply linked to crypto miners clandestinely and illegally hooking into the grid, it claimed, right? So that's the reason why. You got just a Wild West out there right now with people plugging in Bitcoin machines into the grid, trying to skirt maybe even the meters and things like that, trying to get free power potentially. And that's obviously having the impact on the grid in areas where, if you don't have a transformer in place to basically support that much juice being pulled on it, it's going to have an impact in the regions where it could blow a transformer that's not equipped to handle it, right? So that's the problem that you're kind of seeing here on this. But overall, I mean, you guys can read this. There's not much into it. 2 things on it. I don't know if this amendment or bill is even going to get passed, right? It will probably get amended further down to kind of clarify some things because it is pretty vague right now. And I think they stated in here, there was some days, let's see. It's not, I thought they stated it in here. Here it is. Its broad scope seemingly aims to regulate crypto staking, the creation of new crypto assets and wallets, the conservation and storage activities of crypto assets, right? So it's pretty vague as far as what the law entails. But that's kind of what we have here. So like I said before, I don't think this is a real big deal for Marathon or Bitfarms in general because they already have operations there. They're fine. They're already approved for those operations and they're approved for their growth going forward. So I don't see any impact right now on those guys, right? Unless the law changes somehow in the future where they ban it outright completely, then there's going to be an issue. But right now, it looks like this is not just like a nothing burger right now. Okay, so that's it for that story. And then we'll obviously take questions on it at the end here. Let's get into Argo here really quick. Argo, Blockchain PLC announces March operational update. They mined 103 Bitcoin. In March 2024, the company sold its Mirabel facility and relocated its mining machines from Mirabel to its facility in Bayacom, Quebec. The relocated miners were deployed and actively hashing at Bayacom before the end of the March, and the relocation had minimal impact on monthly Bitcoin production. So that's good there. We don't have any other information from Argo as far as any future hash rate growth or nothing like that. I think they're just kind of treading water and seeing where things go right now because they've been kind of flat here for a long time. They've been in financial issues before, and they're slowly getting out of those. But we'll see what happens with them going forward. Right now, I think they only have 1 facility, and the rest of their miners are hosted with Galaxy Digital. So not a good setup for them right now. But let's take a look at what we have on them. So here's Argo. 58 million shares outstanding. Stock price $1.59. Market cap 92 million. Obviously a micro caps mining stock right now. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been great. I mean, it's been kind of like pretty even here. I mean, they're 38% down from 12 weeks ago, up 12% from 8 weeks ago. From 6 weeks ago, they're up or down 6.5%, and then last week they're up 33%, right? So it's kind of up and down, up and down. Overall, pretty much flat for the most part. Current hash rate 2.8 exahash, future hash rate 2.8. They're pretty much fully installed. BTC HODL, don't know what that is. They're saying that they do have some BTC equivalents, but we don't know exactly what the number is, so we're going with what's in here. They did have a nice little increase here as far as BTC production here for the month of March, right? 103 compared to 92. Obviously, March had a little bit more days in it than February did, so that obviously helped things out there. But I think they were just operating for a little bit more uptime as in general. Okay, monthly Bitcoin revenue, 6.97 million. Obviously, a nice increase here from the 4.5 million that they had in February. BTC HODL, don't have any HODL on them. Monthly hash rate difference, you can see here that they've been at 2.8 exahash since September of last year. And that's kind of where things are standing right now. They're pretty much fully installed. No future hash rate growth as of right now. We'll see how well they survive. I think they should be able to survive. Well, it'll be hard, but I think they should be able to survive the halving event with Bitcoin staying up in these prices. BTC sold. They sold 103 BTC, so pretty much everything that they mined. Going down here, BTC per exahash efficiency, 36.79. On the lower end here, as far as the other miners are concerned, on that, BTC sold value. Going down here to institutions. Institutions stayed the same here for the month, 42, 2.13 million shares, 3.72 percentage owned. We still have 1 buy rating, 3 hold ratings, 1 underperform rating. Price targets are $3 for the high, 2004 for the average, and $1.20 for the low on them. As far as their operations here for the month of March, we had them operating at 28.825 days on average. We also added 305,000 in additional BTC transaction fees. That got us to the 6.97 million here, potentially based on the Bitcoin average price for the month of March and where the network hash rate averages and things like that. So that's kind of where I have them right there. That all works out. Going back up here, looking at the next 12 months after the halving event. So basically a 50% revenue. If things stay the same if things stay the same as they were in March for revenue, they would be, I'm guessing, between $1.80 to $2.70. So kind of in line with what the analysts here are looking at. And then if we're looking at the latest, excuse me, if we're looking at the numbers from the last 3 quarters in the current quarter, we're looking at $2.41 to $3.61. They're $1.59. They're slightly undervalued, but there's not much really growth or anything like that. So it depends on what kind of PE ratio you want to put on that. I mean, you could go down even a little bit to a PE of 3, right? Not much growth happening there, or any at all. And you can see that they are either fairly valued or potentially overvalued, depending on what you look at on that one. Okay, so that's it for Argo. Let me know what you guys think of that one. Let's get into the next one here. Next is obviously CORZ. You guys have a lot of questions on CORZ. I've seen questions as far as the warrants. If you guys want to know about the warrant side of things, check out Anthony's post on Twitter. He had and also the video that Anthony and Bryce did on CORZ with the CEO there, and they had a pretty lengthy discussion on as far as how the warrants work and everything else there. I can't summarize it as well as they did over there, so I'll just point you guys to go over there and check that out. But here, as far as production updates here for them, here's what we got so far. So in the last month before the halving, CORZ Scientific set the pace once again, earning more Bitcoin than any other publicly listed miner in North America and expanding our own infrastructure to 745 megawatts, said Adam Sullivan, CORZ Scientific Chief Executive Officer. They actually did mine more than Marathon did, so Marathon obviously has a larger hash rate, but they have issues. So they were able to mine more there along, I think they came in first, Marathon came in second, and then Cleanspark came in third, if you include JV for Marathon as well. Okay. Said Adam Sullivan, CORZ Scientific's Chief Executive Officer, we expanded our energized self-mining hash rate in March to 19.3 exahash, on our way to achieving our goal of 21.8 exahash by the end of 2024. Right, so not a lot of growth there. Is still a little bit of growth, about 2.5 exahash or so, an increase, which is still nice, right? But they're obviously not getting to the levels like Cleanspark's getting to 30 exahash, or Marathon above that as well, right around that, Riot potentially to that area as well. So they will be possibly like in the 4th spot by the end of the year if they don't grow. Okay, going down here, in support of our high-performance computing client, our Austin team has made outstanding progress by delivering the initial 16 megawatt phase of infrastructure, more than 30 days ahead of schedule, paving the way for our client to begin deploying their GPUs. So that's good news there, right? That's potentially like a $100 million contract for them for the next couple of years potentially. So that's good there. So self-mining Bitcoin 906, self-mining energized hash rate 19.3. It is an increase from the 18.9 that they had in February, which is good. And then Bitcoin sold 981 here, and that's obviously going to be part of the hosting, right? So 309 from hosting, depending on what they got from that. That's kind of pretty much sold everything I think that they had at that point on it. Let's see if there's anything else. I think that is it for them. Let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for CORZ, and we'll get into the next ones here. So CORZ has 177 million shares outstanding right now. Stock price is at $3.45. Market cap 612 million. We don't have all the data for them as far as the 12 weeks. We do have data going back 8 weeks, and they're up 18.8% from then. 4 weeks, they're down 5.6%, and last week they were up 4.42%. Current hash rate is at 19.3 exahash. Future hash rate 21.4. I think this is 21.8. So I'm off by a little bit here on those, but that's based on what they reported. Maybe they're getting a little bit more miners than what I have here. Okay, so they still have a little bit of growth here. HODL, obviously they don't report any HODL. Their Bitcoin production here was 906, so it's definitely an increase from February, but that's mainly because I think the actual days here in the month here. Okay, revenue obviously came up nicely here, 61.34 million. That's obviously with the help of Bitcoin going up in value. Then the hash rate here, you can see it has been climbing ever since basically October here. And it has been climbing up, which is nice to see as well. BTC sold has been kind of on average around 1,000 to 900, something like that, over the last 12 months. BTC per exahash efficiency, pretty good here, 46.94, pretty efficient. Probably like right around the top 5 or 7 miners here, I think, as far as efficiency is concerned. So really good there. BTC sold value, they sold everything they mined here. Current quarter, we're looking at about 149.9 million in revenue just from self-mining. Potentially that's going to be a nice quarter for them. Going down here to institutions. We still have 24 institutions on them. Shares went down to 28.81 million from the 30 million, and then percentage also went down to 11.58%, so a little bit of a decrease there. We still don't have any analyst ratings for them as far as buy, hold, or anything like that, or price targets, and that's mainly because they just got out of bankruptcy a couple months ago. I think the analysts are still waiting for some quarterly results, maybe at least 1 quarter or 2 quarters of quarterly results to see how they're doing, right, on that one. And then going down here, as far as production is concerned, we did add, obviously, miners here for them to get them to the 19.3 exahash. And see, I almost forgot to add this. Going down here, we want to include to see where their joules per terahash efficiency is potentially. And I forgot to do this. Okay, there's that one. And then let's see if we're actually counting that. We are. Okay, so we're counting all those. Good. All right, so that's, I added 2.68 million in BTC transaction fees for the month of March for them. The new miners were operating on average, I'm guessing 20 days or so. The rest of the miners were operating in about 28.28 days, right? So that obviously got us to the 61.332 million, which is based on the average here, pretty close, 61.337. I'm off by 5,000, looks like. Yeah. Okay. Pretty close. I'll take it. I may update that to make it a little bit better. So they were actually up a little bit more than that. Okay. Going down over here, looking at the next 12 months based on the numbers from March for the revenue side of things, if things stayed the same and they got each month the same amount, we're looking at a stock price of $20.72 to 31.08 cents on this one, right? And then if we're looking at the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in or actually finished, which was an estimated quarter, we're looking at $24.90 to $37.35. Definitely way undervalued from where they should be. But is there a reason why they are undervalued? I think there is. I think the warrants, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think once the warrants are possibly exercised, right, when they reach their price target, I think that's obviously going to increase shares at that point. Even if that happens, I think you could possibly run these numbers down a little bit more because this is based on the numbers that I have right now of the 177 million. You could run those numbers down, so I still think that they are way undervalued from where they should be. Even if you run this down 50%, you're looking at $12 to $15 or something like that. They're still way undervalued from where they really should be. But that's the reason why, right? They've been in bankruptcy. They got out of bankruptcy. I think investors are just kind of needing to see a quarter or two of financial results to see how they are doing after getting out of bankruptcy and how well they execute going forward in their growth with the AI side of things. Just a lot of questions right now around this stock, okay? And we could possibly, since they don't have too much growth left, we could possibly even bring them down to like 15. And then you're looking at $18.68 to $20. So still way undervalued. Even if you bring them down to 10, PE, we're looking at $12.45 to $18.68. Even if you bring this down because of the dilution from the warrants potentially to $6 to $9, they're still way undervalued based on where they should be, right? But I think they're going to actually grow more than this going forward. I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty ambitious to prove to the investors and public in general that they will do well going forward, okay? But that is it. We'll obviously take questions on this one if you guys have any at the end of the sessions here. Let's get into the next one here. DMG. DMG is going to be nice and quick here. DMG Blockchain Solution announces March mining results. And here it is. Mined 49.8 Bitcoin with 1 exahash realized hash rate. And that is it. Not a lot of fanfare here going on with this one. Excuse me. So let's take a look at DMG here. Really quick, DMG has 168 million shares outstanding, stock price at 41 cents, 69 million market cap right now. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been lackluster, down 14% from 12 weeks ago, up 17 from 8 weeks ago, up 2%, almost 3% from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were up 13.8. Their current hash rate was, they're saying, and what do they call it? Realized hash rate, 1 exahash. But I'm guessing they're at 1.2 based on what they reported in the past. Future hash rate about 2 exahash. A little bit of growth left in them, not much. They do have a HODL 446 Bitcoin. This was as of September Q4 numbers. I don't think they reported anything as far as, oh yeah, right here, 400. So it is the recent number. So that's valued about 30 million. So they do have a pretty healthy HODL there as it is. BTC, pretty close to where they were in February, 49.8 compared to the 49.3. Going down here, BTC HODL has obviously been coming down here, it looks like, since May of last year, where they reached 570. BTC per X efficiency, 41.47, probably on the middle side of the miners here. An efficiency, BTC sold, how much they sold there. Hash rate revenue, you can see their hash rate has been pretty much stuck at 1.2 since September of last year. Revenue obviously has increased to 3.37 million, which is the best they've had here in the last 12 months, which is good to see. And then hash rate difference, BTC sold value, how much they sold. Going down here to analysts. Analysts are still the same here. 9 institutions. Shares went down to 1.8 million from 1.9. Percentage went down to 1.08 from 1.14. We still have the same buy rating from one of them. And then price targets are 74 cents with high, average, and low across the board, which are still the same here that we've seen. Going down here as far as what they mined here, really quick here, I added 191,000 Canadian for the BTC transaction fees, and they were operating for about 25.84 days, which is a little bit better than they operated in February on that one. That got us to 3.381 million, which obviously coincides with the numbers here as well. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at as far as them going forward the next 12 months with things staying the same from March, revenue and things like that. I'm in between 42 cents and 63 cents. They're 41 cents. I think they're pretty well valued right now. And even if we look at the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that just finished up, estimated, we're looking at 52 cents to 77 cents on them because not a lot of growth left in them. So they are pretty fairly valued, I think, right now as it is on that one. Okay, so let me know what you guys think of that one. Let's get into the next one here, which is going to be on Hive. So Hive Digital announces Bitcoin production and HODL growth in March 2024 and HODL in 2024 to 2,287 Bitcoin. Here's what we have. Hive has successfully mined 224 Bitcoin in March 2024. Hive concluded March with a 4.7 exahash AC mining capacity. The company's HODL position at the end of March was 2,287. And then let me see if there's anything else in here that we have. There we go. Having preparation. So Aydin Kaylik, president and CEO, have highlighted the company's technology stability with the integration of Bitmain S21 Antminers into its mining fleets, stating, "We have approximately 2,000 S21 Antminers arriving and expected to be installed before the halving event." So that's good there. Additionally, Hive has approximately 3,000 additional S21 Antminers being delivered by June 2024. So if you combine those 3,000 and 2,000, you're basically getting another exahash installed there. In total, Hive will receive 5,095 S21 Antminers within the next 3 months, bringing our total target hash rate to 5.5 exahash and a global average fleet efficiency of 25 joules per terahash. All right, so that's pretty good there. And that is it for Hive. Let's take a look at the numbers we have for Hive. Hive up here has 88.2 million shares outstanding. Stock price is at $3.18. Market cap 280 million right now based on those numbers. And then the performance over the last 12 weeks hasn't been great. It's kind of been flat across the board if you look at it overall. Down 18% from 12 weeks ago, up 8% from 8 weeks ago, down 12% from 4 weeks ago, up 10% from this past week. Okay, and their hash rate is at 4.7 right now. Future hash rate about 5.5. So they're getting pretty close to being fully installed, right? They've always stated that they want to maintain 1% of the overall Bitcoin network hash rate, right? So Bitcoin network hash rate right now is about getting close to 600 exahash on the 30-day average, so they're definitely trying to keep up with that at least. HODL 2,287, that's valued at 154 million right now, and that is basically 55% of their market cap right now, which is obviously surprising. So this tells me, along with Hut 8, when we take a look at them, that investors are definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? They're valuing growth more so than they are like the HODL and just status quo basically on mining. Okay. BTC production here 224, nice increase from obviously February, which was 200, and then going down here, revenue was actually lower than in. Oh, I have to update this one. I missed this one. See, I got a lot of things I need to update on all of these things, and I can miss one. Okay, so there we go. Actually, revenue up nicely here to 15.17 million from 9.9 million. Right, we're seeing that kind of across the board here with the miners. For March, obviously Bitcoin going up to 70,000 plus, that's helping things out tremendously for them. BTC HODL here has been increasing ever since November, which is good to see. All right, I think it's pretty close to being their highest number here since March of last year, 2,310. They're getting close to that. Petahash, they're at 4.7 exahash, so obviously a nice steady increase here ever since January of this year, so that's good to see. BTC sold, they haven't been selling that much in the last 3 months. And they've been hodling obviously a heck of a lot more. Efficiency wise, BTC per exahash efficiency, they're at 47.67, so they're right up there, right within the top 5, top 7 miners in efficiency. Bitcoin sold value looks that way. Going down here to institutions, 126 institutions from 125, so that is an increase. Shares increased to 27 million from 26.79 million. That's good. Their shares actually percentage went down to 25.98 from 26.29. I think that might be because of dilution. All right. Going down here into as far as what we have going on. So I did take out some of the older miners here for them in March because I think that's what they say that they're going to be doing. So we took out, or at least I took out, some of these 98 terahash miners here, some of these 98 terahash miners here, and I also took out these 96 terahash miners as well and replaced them with the S19K Pros, the 136 terahash miners here for the month of March, which I also added 664,000 in Bitcoin transaction fees. I had those, everything else operating for 31 days, and then the S19K Pros operating, I had to actually increase it to 23.62 days on it to get them to everything lined up, okay? And that got us to where we needed to be, 4.7 and about 15.165 million in revenue, which is right on the money there. So we're good there, okay. Going with the next 12 months here for them, if things stay the same, right, from March, looking at about 90 million in revenue potentially. That would get us to $5.16 per stock to $7.73. That's pretty close to what the analysts are looking for here. And then if we use the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we just finished, which is estimated right now, we're looking at $6.30 to $9.45. We could possibly bring this down the PE because there's just not much growth left, right? They're getting from 4.7 to 5.5, another, what is that, or 5.6 roughly maybe. That's, what is that, another 9x 900 petahash or something. So not a lot of growth there, right? And as we've seen before, investors are looking for growth with the miners as far as their own self mining and things like that, even though if you have a nice HODL position, that doesn't really help you, because we'll take a look at that here shortly in Hut 8. But that is it. I think they are still a little bit undervalued from where they really should be, to be fairly valued, but not too far away from it right now. Okay, and that's it. Let me know what you guys think of that one in the questions or in the comments. And let's get into our last one here, which is going to be on Hut 8. So Hut 8 operation updates for March 2024. Here we go. So this is from, I believe, Asher Ganut. We have also made significant progress on our new Salt Creek site and expect to fully energize the site in April. Less than 3 months after breaking ground, we removed our miners from Kearney and Granbury and are relocating them to our own site, Salt Creek and Alpha, to be energized. While this decrease our deployed hash rate and Bitcoin production during the month, it gives us the crucial ability to maintain full control of our fleet and drive down our energy costs going into the halving event. Right. So Kearney and Granbury were the ones that Marathon bought out, and they're basically buying them out of that contract there. So they're going to be out by the end of this month, I think, potentially. So they have to move basically all their miners out to another facility, and that's why they're doing the Salt Creek, building it out. So that is a good thing. They're also getting rid of some of the older miners that are not as efficient. But here's what we have for them. Deployed hash rate was 5.4 for the month. Bitcoin produced was 231. And then Bitcoin on the balance sheet was 9,102. That's actually a little bit less than what they had in February. Other than that, highlights, you guys can see all the rest of the stuff here. Let's get into the numbers here for Hut 8 as well. And then Hut 8 has 88.9 million shares outstanding. Stock prices of today was $8.98. Market cap 798, so about 800 million or so. And you can see here their performance over the last 12 weeks has not been great. 29% down from 12 weeks ago, 16% down, up from 8 weeks ago, down 5.13 from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were down 3.1%. Current hash rate 5.4, future hash rate, if they move all their miners, 7.3, probably even less than that because they are getting rid of some of the miners from the old Hut 8 days where they had some miners in the Canadian facilities. That might be even coming down to maybe they'll get to like 6.7 or 6.5 exahash all said and done. Still have not heard any word on them expanding that or replacing the miners to get more efficient. So that's obviously not a good sign there. And then HODL, obviously they have a huge HODL here, 9,102. Bitcoin that's valued at 616 million, right? Market cap almost 800 million. So you got basically 180 million between where the market cap is and what their HODL value is. So they're really not being valued for their operations as far as self-mining is concerned. And their HODL to market cap is 77.13%. That is the largest that we have here across all the miners here. All right, that is just huge. They're being basically valued on their HODL, not on operations right now. And that's why I keep harping on them you got to start growing your own hash rate, building that out as fast as possible. You don't want to be doing it, well, ideally you should have been doing it at least 6 to 10 months or 6 to 12 months before the halving event. But they're in the position that they're in, so you really need to do that as quickly as possible now. But nonetheless, 231 Bitcoin mined here, obviously a decrease from the 292 that they mined in February. Production here as far as revenue, you can see 15.64 million. This is obviously for self-mining only. They have other business segments, the managed services and the hosting, things like that. That's not being counted in here. BTC HODL, you can see here, has been coming down here. They were at 9,110 the month prior, 9,116 the month prior to that. And it's obviously the lowest number that they've had here in the last 12 months here, looks like. So they are using up more than they are mining, but they're self-mining right now, right? But they're also getting revenue, which is kind of, let's think about this here. So they have managed services as well. They have hosting as well. So if all three business segments, managed, self-hosting, or hosting and self-mining, is not providing enough revenue for them to put more into the HODL, that might be a question to ask, right? What's going on there? And then hash rate difference, you can see here 5.4 compared to 7.19 that they had before. BTC sold, how much they've been selling. And going down here to BTC price per exahash efficiency, that has improved a little bit here to 42.7 from 40.6, so that's good there. BTC sold value, they've been selling on average in the last couple of months around 16 million or so. So that's kind of where they're at. Quarterly data, obviously all that is messed up right now because of the merger. We got some data on that, but that was all US BTC for the last 6 months into the end of the year of 2023 and 1 month of Hut 8 operations. So that data is all messed up here. So these numbers up here are definitely off, definitely wrong here. We'll restart the settings on these probably when they report like the Q1 results. We'll start maybe seeing some better numbers on that. But going down here as far as institutions, still the same 164, and we have now 9.65 million instead of 9.6. A slight increase there. Same with the percentage, 10.83 from 10.7. Bitcoin or analyst ratings here, we have 2 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 1 underperform rating. So the same that we've had before, and the price targets for the high stay the same. We actually went up a little bit, 17.47 from 17.41. The average went up to 11.19 from 10.25, and the low went up to 6.62 from 5.16. Okay, now as far as their operations here, I did drop there to about 55,000 miners or so, operating at 5.4 exahash based on the average here. Don't know exactly what they have in there, but that got us operating at 26.512 days, added 685,000 in Bitcoin transaction fees. That got us to the 15.638 million in revenue, which is obviously what's here. So that all coincides in the copacetic there. All right, now looking at the numbers here for the next 12 months, if things worked out that they were, mining the same thing or generating the same revenue for the next 12 months, they'd be right around $17.91 to $11.87, and that's even being pretty generous on the PE here. I think maybe around 10 would be more like it. Not a lot of growth left. Their growth is coming down. So I think even a PE of 10 is very, very generous for them. So 527 to 791, based on this, they're at $8.98. I think they might be a little bit overvalued based on this, right? And you're kind of seeing it with the HODL being way up here, not too far away from the market cap, right? What are investors looking at this? They're looking at it as more of a proxy on Bitcoin than anything else, and revenue from self-mining or managed hosting or hosting or anything like that. And we'll have to see, obviously, the Q1 results. I think those are going to speak volumes to everything that we were kind of seeing here on this. Okay, so that's it on Hut 8. Let me know what you guys think of it. And let's get into the Q&A. And then we're at already, 10:18? So we got a little bit left time. Let's do this. Let's see your Q&A. Oh, before I forget, my little sales pitch here. Access to all my spreadsheets is available through Patreon. It's $8 a month there. Link is in the description. There might be some spots in the $5 and the $4 range still. Once everything starts filling it back up a little bit here, I think we'll be up to like $9 or $10 when that does happen. Just trying to limit the amount of people that actually get access to this. Don't want to make this too big of a community there. I want to be able to still, correspond and reach out and things like that. So I don't want to make it too big. So that is it for it. That's the only thing I sell to you guys on here. And you guys do a great job supporting me, helping me out to be able to do all this stuff for you guys here. All right, that's my sales pitch there. So let's get into the Q&A side of things. And let me go over to my screen where I can see the Q&As. Okay. So I'm trying to find, also this is a little bit delayed from what you guys are seeing to what I'm saying. It's about 15, 20 seconds or so. So I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds here to catch up on the stream and get into the Q&As. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? Kevin, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see, does higher quality, more advanced miners mean they will use more electricity, or is it all circumstantial. Actually, when you're looking at the miners, the higher quality ones, they're actually going to use less electricity compared to their terahash, right? So you've seen miners like the S19s, which were, let's just say 100 terahash, right? And they were at like 330 watts or 3,300 watts. And then you get the newer miners that are like 200 terahash, but they're like 3,500 watts, right? Big difference there. Double the speed and a little bit of an increment, but they're more efficient if you look at it that way. So I don't think that's going to change much there. All right, let's see if we got any questions here. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. Two-part question. You mentioned that you were interested in buying a kit cart and you never said the model. What is your feeling settlement on the market? Honestly, timing, gut feeling. Model car was the Cobra Shelby. That's what it was, right? It's one of those. It's no roof, just a two-seater. I've always loved those things. Going back to probably when I was like 18, 17 or something like that. I saw one of those blue with two stripes across, going across the hood and towards the back. I just love that thing. It's not something you would want to ride around in the wintertime, but it's something that might be kind of fun. But as far as my sentiment over the market here right now, it's kind of what I expected a little bit, right? We're kind of going up and down a little bit, and things. I mean, Bitcoin's gone up way more than I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought Bitcoin's going to be at like maybe 40-some thousand by the halving event. The spot Bitcoin ETFs obviously have had a huge impact on Bitcoin price and the miners themselves. It's a different cycle this time around than what we saw in 2020. All right, in 2020, the miners were going down in price a year prior to the halving. Then they started going back up probably about 6 to 8 weeks after the halving, right, when Bitcoin started going back up. And that's kind of when they really took off. But we've seen the miners actually, some of the miners at least, a couple outperform Bitcoin this past year already. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I'm still optimistic. I'm still positive on it, right? Right now it's going to be turbulent, I think, but come past the halving, things will be much better if you look out, 6, 12, 18 months out in the future, I think. On the shorter time frame, everything's more volatile, but you have to have a mindset to look out further a little bit on that one. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on Wolf? I like Wolf. I mean, they have great cost of power, good operations, pretty good growth. They don't hodl anything. I wish they would hodl a little bit. They don't hodl anything there. Other than that, I mean, the debt is obviously a concern there, but it looks like they might be able to pay that off unless Bitcoin goes down to like 50,000 or 40,000 after the halving or something like that. Then there's going to be some pain there. And that might prolong the debt. Maybe they're going to have to restructure it, dilution for it or something. But other than that, I think they're going to be doing pretty well. I think the debt for the past years kind of held them back as far as stock price and everything else because there was a lot. I mean, just going back a year, it was basically 140 million. Right, that's a lot. Let's see. Are you not going to buy a junker at that level? Oh, I think you're talking about the Cobra kit car, the Cobra Shelby Cobra. Let's see. Will the gains from the miners this cycle bump you up to the next tax bracket? Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know how investment gains are. I'm pretty sure it's going to bump me up to the next bracket for sure if I sell at the right time. We'll see. I'm looking, the way I see this, I'm going to be paying a couple $100,000 probably in gains if I sell sometime towards the top of the bull run potentially. Not looking forward to it, but I'll pay Uncle Sam. Question, I see BitDigital is taking their ETH. Which other miners does this? BitDigital is the only miner I can find doing this, and why not others? I think Bitdeer might be another one that does this, and I think Hive did it for a while, or they were going to do it, right? They had also like 19,000 or something like that Ethereum coins, and they were going to do that, but I don't know why they changed their mind on it for some reason. So I think those might be the only ones that have done it or consider doing it. Let's see. Question. What prices would you be looking to get into Cleanspark with the current circumstances? Well, that depends on where you're at, right? My price target or my average on Cleanspark is at $3.50 some cents, right? So for me, it's like okay, I started buying it when it was $9, so I might buy more around $9. But being above that, I kind of look at what is the potential for it to go another 10x, 5x, right, compared to some of them, maybe the other miners that aren't doing as well right now. And is my capital better deployed in those where they could possibly go 10x, right? I mean, Bitcoin goes up, or not Bitcoin, Cleanspark. If Cleanspark goes up 5x, that's basically still at $75 from where it's at right now, roughly, right? 75, 80, $90, something like that. That's still a really good gain. I have some other miners that I think might be able to go at least another 10x because I got in so much lower on price on Cleanspark because I've been buying it over the last 2 years. So my average is really good. So I might be looking at other ones, but if you're just getting into it, I will definitely look into Cleanspark right now where it's at. We don't know if we're going to get any more dips on it. Dollar cost average in, that's worked out for me, but that's up to you as far as where you see things. And then where do you think it might go, right? Some are saying Cleanspark could go up to 150. So that's another 10x from here, right? But you have to weigh those kind of ups and downs potentially. It's not easy. Hey, good morning from UK. So, yeah, we're doing this kind of late. I was running late today. Unfortunately, let's see if you guys have any other questions. Oh, here we go. There we go. Is Paraguay going to ban Bitfarms? No, we covered that in the very beginning of the live stream. Right now, the way it's looking, the proposed amendment is said to basically, it states that any new Bitcoin mining operations, right? Bitfarms is already in there, Marathon's already in there. They have deals, contracts in place, and approvals in place. They should be okay. But I think the concern there is obviously with the people going into stealing electricity. You know, they're causing havoc on the electrical grid in those areas where they're just pulling too much juice and those transformers can't handle it, right? Bitfarms doesn't have that issue because they're buying the right transformers to handle the load that they need and the right connection types. So that's kind of where the issue is. I think they need to clean up the Wild Wild West part of it, where people are just kind of, you know, screwing with the system, basically, to try and steal electricity. And that's what's really going on there. So I don't think they're going to have issues as far as Bitfarms or Marathon, because both are in there right now. But we'll see. Question, Gryphon is a smaller miner, went public quite recently. Under what circumstances do you start tracking any newish public miners? Wondering if there are others not on your spreadsheet. Yeah, I mean, there's at least probably another 6 or 8 that are on track for a couple of reasons. One, if they don't report monthly production updates, that's one thing. And then also, I think the size right now matters more than anything else. Could they be doing pretty good going forward? Potentially. But I think the size right now is going to be kind of an issue for them, right? They're at, what are they at? 700, 800 petahash or something like that for the self-mining. Maybe 900, I can't remember exactly. And it just depends on how well they grow, right? If we see that they're growing pretty well, right, getting to maybe 2 exahash, 3, 4, 5, and they're continuing to grow, well, at that point, I might start covering them. But right now, going into the halving and not having a huge market cap, they're obviously limited to the amount of capital they can raise and everything else right now. That's an impediment for them for the time being. Also, like I said, I think it's just, you know, I have a couple of smaller miners here, DMG, Digihost, ANI as well. And then you could possibly put in there Stronghold as well. I used to cover Mawson as well. But I'm almost looking to possibly get, I may still track them a little bit, but I may not discuss them as much going forward because there's just not much growth going there. And I think investors are looking more for the ones that are growing, right? So that's kind of the way I look at it. Question, why am I so awesome? Because I got awesome viewers. Wouldn't be for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this stuff. So I want to say thank you to you guys mostly. Let's see here. McNally said Bitfarm has already made revenue on their synthetic HODL. They're supposed to be deep in the money. Do you agree with that? Yeah, I know that they're working on the synthetic, or they're using the synthetic HODL as well. I don't know enough about it to really comment, but as long as they don't screw it up like they did last time, where they, you know, were using their HODL position to get loans against it, and then they had to sell a bunch of it, I'm okay with it, right? As long as they're making money on it. Let's see here. Thoughts on CORZ? CORZ, I mean, I think they're doing really well right now, right? The only thing that investors aren't willing to, or as an investor, right? you're looking at a company that's been in bankruptcy, you don't really want to invest in them potentially because you're afraid of what might happen, right? There's still obviously the warrants. You have some debt still that's outstanding there. Those are all concerns. So I think investors are just wanting to see maybe a quarter or two of financial results. How are they operating after the bankruptcy? At that point, maybe things will change around for CORZ and the stock will actually do much better. But right now, it's a little bit of an unknown. And usually with unknowns, people don't invest in unknowns. So that's kind of where things are standing on that one. Let's see. Great video. Always appreciated your time. Thank you. Do you buy into miners like Bitfarms and IREN with a certain amount of your total cash capital? What is your risk tolerance strategy? I knew was so do you buy into miners? So I try to put in a couple $100 a week if I can. All right. Some things obviously take precedence, family, things like that. If I need cash for that, that goes there. If I have spare cash, that goes into miners. So recently, I've been buying a heck of a lot more of Bitfarms. I want to get to 20,000 shares of that one. I'm at 17,000, almost 18,000 on that one. So I'm getting close. I want to get to 20,000 on that one. I'll be happy there. Once I get there, I'll start deploying a little bit more into IREN at that point. But that's kind of the way I do. I just kind of I can't time the dips. Somebody's going to be able to time the dips, right? I bought on Monday Bitfarms and IREN, and things still came down even this week. So it's like, I wish I would have maybe put in half and bought more later on, but it could have been the other way. It could have put in half and then the prices went up. So you just never know. So I just dollar cost average in and I don't worry about it. And then this coming week, I'll dollar cost average in some more. So that's kind of the way I do it. And then what is your risk tolerance strategy? My risk tolerance is I'm still relatively young. I'm in my 40s. I still have about 20, 30 years of work ahead of me. So if I lose the money that I put into Cleanspark, Bitfarms, Bitcoin, IREN, or anything like that, I can still possibly make that up over the next 20, 30 years or so. All right. So I'm probably not the ideal candidate for diversification when it comes to investing. All right. Pretty much high risk right now. Bitcoin, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, IREN, a couple little altcoins here and there. Those are marginal, right? Less than 1%. Probably less than 0.5%, I think, at this point. So I'm definitely all high risk, potentially high risk reward. But I've been doing this for almost 2 years and 3 months, a little bit longer than probably 3 years or 2 years and maybe 9 months of just constant due diligence, research, tracking everything, metrics, seeing how things work. I think I have a pretty good feel of how things are going to work out. But we'll see. Anything can happen, right? We could get a black swan event. Bitcoin goes down to 5,000, and I'm wiped out anyways. So we'll see. Let's see. Are you concerned about BTC diminishing returns over each cycle? If 5.3x theory comes true, BTC peaks at 80,000 unless there is a super cycle. If Hex rhymes, or if history rhymes, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, rhyme price at BTC. Well, if you look at 5.3x, is that, well, last cycle, obviously we're seeing less of a percentage increase in Bitcoin, but we're seeing a higher value increase in Bitcoin, if that makes sense. So think about this. Obviously, as the price of Bitcoin goes up much higher, you need much less percentage gains to go from 100,000 to 200,000, right? You only need basically 100%. In the past, you needed for Bitcoin to go from basically 2 cents to $100. What is that? Like 200,000% or something like that, right? So you needed those types of numbers, and now we're seeing the reverse. We're seeing lower increases in percentage-wise, but higher dollar amounts going up. Hope that kind of makes sense. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Okay, I think we're pretty much caught up on all the questions you guys have. If you guys have any other questions, we'll probably call it a day here. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to see if you guys have any other questions. I know it's Friday night. People are out partying, drinking, having fun. And we're here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. Aren't we a happy bunch? Let's see here. Okay, I don't see any other questions, guys. If that's the case, we'll call it a day here. Obviously, I'm not going to extend this any longer than I need to, and you guys have already gotten your questions here. So I think we'll call it a day. If I see another question pop up here in the next couple of seconds, we'll talk about it. But otherwise, we are going to call it a day here. Where do I want to go? I'm going to go here. There we go. So obviously no video tomorrow, Saturday. I'm going to be busy doing other things. And then we'll do a live stream Sunday sometime. I don't know exactly when. I'm doing a Twitter Spaces with the BTC mining guy on Sunday at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. You guys are more than welcome to join on that one. And then we'll obviously do a we'll do a live stream after that. And then we do have a question here, it looks like, from somebody. Let me see here. Is your setup real or background? LOL. Is it a real? If it is real, what a cool spot. You should do a setup tour off topic. And yes, we are happy bunch. LOL. Yeah, it's actually real. If you guys can see here, let me see. You guys can see here. So it is actually real. There is a computer back here and everything else. And it's actually my little dungeon down in the basement. It's a little corner of the basement that I have right now that I'm working out of. It's obviously had a transformation over the last 2 years, right? If you guys have been following me for 2 years, you've seen it from where it was to where it's gone to right now. And I've kind of invested in setups and lights and microphones and computers and software and things like that, just to make it a better production for you guys. And hopefully you guys enjoy the value out of it. But yeah, that is it. So we'll see what happens this weekend. We'll cover the miners obviously on Sunday, see what happens happening there. And yeah, we'll see what happens next week. I think we have a lot of the miners already covered here for the production side of things. Let me take a look at it really quick here with you guys while I got you. Let's see here. The miners right now that I'm still waiting on are Mawson. Mawson's not going to provide their numbers until possibly like 2 weeks from now. Same thing with Sphere. So we may start running some numbers on the monthly production updates for the miners as far as how they perform against each other on some metrics next week. We'll do some other numbers as well on that. Okay, so that is it. Again, thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. I hope you guys have a really, really great weekend. And enjoy it. Spend time with your family, friends, loved ones, whatever you have. Life is beautiful. I'm thankful that I wake up every day. I hope you guys do the same thing, right? We're very, very short existence on this planet for, if you look at it, the long grand scheme of things. So be thankful with every day. And then as far as where Bitcoin goes, Bitcoin miners, they're going to do their thing, and eventually they will go up. You just got to be patient, okay? But that's my spew here, my spiel. I'll see you guys on Sunday. So have a great weekend.